Here we go. On Paper, episode 1.
On Paper, episode 1. Everybody, welcome to On Paper, episode 1, where we're just gonna make sure that every single thing that car makers tells us, and also pretty much every single thing that we see on magazines, is real, and that translates into reality. Because I have people like I've never had anyone that really works with me that likes cars. You, Sergio, right here, Sergio Chavez, Ramirez, Lopez, and all these other names. Diego.
the third.
He's the first person ever that I work with that actually likes cars. And he's into this, like, for real. And full disclosure, I'm a full Mercedes fan, as you know.
Always
and
have
you
been.
are?
Audi. Audi for life.
Audi for life. We got to be completely honest here because we're not going to put anything here that's going to be...
No, throw your bias, grab it, and throw in the trash.
I mean, at first, right now, I think we have to be biased, right? Because that's
all we know.
That's all we know. We haven't driven the cars. We haven't done anything. So our first test is going to be, and we want to warm it up, obviously. We're not just going to go and test like the cheapest cars that exist. Right now, we're going into the $50,000 range of cars, $50,000 to $60,000,
right in that range.
Which is going to be the Supra, the Audi S5, the Mercedes C43 AMG, the M2 from BMW, and obviously the Porsche 718.
Look at you with all your notes.
Dude, I'm ready for this. I'm ready because when I started doing this, when I did Hyper 5, was because I drove so many cars that I thought I was going to love, and I bought them like an idiot. And then I drove them, and I was like, this is garbage compared to this other car that, you know, no one talked about or no one talked so high up about, like so highly about the car. And that's what I want to avoid. I want to make sure that we're being unbiased, that we're being real, and also just know, people, that it's always about how a car makes you feel. So it's not really so much about numbers and what someone online tells you. So it's more about, if you're really looking for a car like this, go make sure and test drive every single one of the cars and really find out what's good for you. We're here to guide you as to, like, what are the basics and what's going to be, what to expect and what not to expect. That's right. This is just an intro.
I think what's cool is, like what you're saying with Hyper 5 and all that kind of stuff, is the comparison aspect is incredible, but it's just not it's a car for the 1%.
I know. Well, for the 1%, man, it's like for the 0.1%.
Exactly. Exactly. I think what's so cool about, like, with this section of cars, it's cars that for the most people, it's at least within reach.
Yeah.
You know, and for most people, it is such their own halo car.
Yeah.
Like for you, it's the hypercars at this point, you know?
But it's never been like that for me, you know?
No, exactly. You've had the transition.
I've had the transition, and unfortunately, I started my whole thing with Hyper 5, and people are now like, oh, man, now you're doing this. Like, oh, how low have you sunk?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can't, there's no other hypercars on the market right now either. I had the Senna, and you guys saw it just burn down to death. So
and there won't be anything for...
And there's nothing for another 2 years right now. So we might as well start getting our feet wet with this so that we're ready by the time prime time comes. We're just going to blow it out of the park. And I think let's start with this discussion. So what is your favorite car maker, Sergio, and why? You already said Audi, but why Audi? What is it about Audi that tickles your pickle?
So my first car that I saved up and was able to get was it's known for being a notoriously bad car, but it was the C4 All-Road.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like 2004, like early 1990s to like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
I love the car. I'm a big wagon fan. As much as my friends growing up would hate me on, as much as the lack of women that I got because of my car. But I just love...
So true.
Yeah. I loved having just a car that was built for a purpose, you know? And that's what I think Audi is always there for as well. It's not the most engaging to drive or this or that, but it does everything great. It might not do one thing amazingly.
So it's a great high average car in your opinion.
Like it's comfortable to drive. It has 4-wheel drive with a quattro system, which I've gone up the mountains with the snow with my car, with my current S4.
Which, I mean, if you guys don't know, Sergio loves going camping and hiking and all this crazy stuff outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've never ever had the experience of owning a car that wasn't a quattro car. So I've always been so used to that driving mechanic, that feel. And for me, I love the interior quality. Like it feels really well put together. Like my S4 is 5 years old, but it feels so solid. It feels just as it would a new car.
Because to me, that's very important. I think having a car that really feels like it's going to last you and that feels substantial and that you can go over humps and be like, all right, nothing broke. Like you're not even thinking about it. That's a success. So I see your point.
Yeah. So that's like the main reason is it's reliable. It's depreciation does great for them. Which is great to get into, but it is like you're comparing it to, like, let's say BMW. Those cars 5 years old and they're falling apart.
Yeah.
So that's for me is just I love the looks too. I love the styling, and just overall, just a great car in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to jump into that. I'm not going to give you notes on what you like, because what you like is what you like. But I'll tell you, mine is Mercedes. I think everybody knows that. I love Mercedes because they're consistent with their noise. Like every single 63 AMG that you get into sounds so good and feels the same, and it has like the same spirit inside of the car. And obviously the materials and the fact that they changed the car so much from one generation to the other, that gets me. Yeah. Because I was a huge BMW fan when I was younger. And then the cars just remain kind of like the same forever until basically now. They're starting to change now. But it's been a long time, you know? And now you get into an old BMW or a newer BMW that's like 2 years old, still feels like it's a 2005 car. And I hate that.
The update cycles are so slow. Exactly.
And Mercedes does exactly the opposite. Even though they're making every single car of theirs all-wheel drive, except like the AMG GTR and some other stuff, it feels very muscle car, but controlled with great track performance, if you will. And it has a great feel when you're driving it. I adore Mercedes, and especially how much money they put into their cars. That is why I like Mercedes.
You've said that statistic, right? Of like, for every, they do put in the most money compared to any other.
The most money. So, for example, if BMW is putting $1 out of $5 that they make, Mercedes is putting $3 out of $5 that they make. So, and you get to see it in the cars, the quality of the car, the quality of the product. And obviously, they last longer. They have, in my opinion, better technology. Even the screens are just much nicer. And again, just the way the car drives, which is mainly what you use it for. And also, when you're sitting in a nice cabin, that does it for me, because you're always going to find traffic, right? Especially where we live. So to me, Mercedes is number one, and that's my shit. But I got to say, I'm really scared here for Mercedes, because the 43s should not be AMGs. Yeah, those are like the disappointment of the family. That's like the black sheep. Though.
Is that like, what, 380 horsepower, something like that? Like, that's...
It has 385 horsepower. But
that's good.
But it's an all-wheel drive car, and it's a heavy car.
It is.
And it's very muted. All of the cars that we're going to be testing tomorrow, they all sound like shit. None of them are like, oh, this is the car you want to buy because it makes insane noise. Like back in the day, the M3, like, right? It just doesn't make the noise.
Good anymore, with like everything being turboed, with all these new laws.
And
like
the super tiny engines.
Nothing's going to sound good going forward.
Yeah.
Anything legal, at least, you know?
So now, my next question for you, Sergio, do you think your favorite car will do the best at these tests? Do you think you'll enjoy driving your car all around more than you'll enjoy any of the cars that are on the list?
You want to give the list of like what we're judging based off of?
So we're judging the cars based on a few things. So number one, interior quality, which we have to. The sound system. I think it's so important that the sound system is judged. I know that it's not going to translate into whatever we're putting there, but we'll give you our opinion as to what doesn't sound like a boombox inside of the car, right? So that's two. The cabin space. Yeah. Because if you're buying a car, even if they're tiny, they want to feel big. Like the 718, the Boxsters, are so good at that because they hide. Like, it's such a tiny car, but at the same time, you're sitting in there, and you just feel like it's such a massive cabin.
You have so much glass around you, you see so much.
Exactly. So cabin space is very important. Storage space, because this is a car that you're not just going to buy for yourself and just say, like, this is going to be a weekend car. This is most likely going to be someone's daily.
Yeah.
Right? These cars are in the daily range. So I think storage space is one of those things that it's going to matter. Looks, obviously, they're completely personal. And you have to be standing in front of the car to be able to look at it. I hate when people judge a car based on pictures.
Yeah.
So looks is very important. Sound of the car. This one's going to be really tough because
just
my God,
to each one, you know.
Yeah, of course.
You can't compare it to anything else.
No. And I'm 100% here with you. I'm not going to jump into, well, it doesn't sound like a Ferrari 812. Like, no, I got you. We're going to go by sound of the pack right now. Excitement. The excitement that they provide you when you drive the cars. And BMW claims to be the king of drivers, the driving.
I've heard the M2 is unreal.
And that's what everybody keeps telling me, by the way. I've gotten so many messages.
Also, everyone always says, any BMW owner will always be like, this car is the best car ever to drive.
I can't stand BMW owners. But also, I have a lot of friends that have messaged me that are curious about which one's the best. And they all keep telling me, like random people that don't have a single BMW, I think the M2 is going to be the most exciting car.
You have to address also this idea that everyone's going to be commenting, oh, on the track this. No one tracks their car.
We're not going to go into a track. This is something that people are going to daily, obviously. We're not going to go into that. We will do drag races, obviously, because these are so slow. We have so much time
They're not that slow. They're slow to you. But to me or your average
The average that we're looking at is 4.2 5 seconds.
Great.
That's so okay. But
when you're used to being in the 3s, of course.
Twos.
In the twos. But
please.
for an average driver, 4.5 is a fast car. You're beating 90%, 95% of the cars out there.
But I guess what I'm saying, it's fine that that they're not that fast. I'm not going to say so slow. That they're not that fast because you get to enjoy them more in the street.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you drive a 720 or anything crazy or a Tesla, you get so fast to high speeds that you don't have time to enjoy yourself. And in these, you'll have a little bit more time. So also, excitement is a big part. I want to say feel on the road.
Yeah.
Because that's so important. And a lot of these cheap cars, I'm sorry, a lot of these, and
budget.
By the way, I
cars.
know, I'm sorry if I sound like a total asshole. I'm so disconnected from this range.
You
I really am. And I'm so grateful that I am because I was able to put myself in that place. But it's so important that these cars have that feeling that translates into whenever you're grabbing the steering wheel, you're feeling like you're driving on the road, like literally on the road, like what McLaren does so good, right? At that high level. So I want to see which one of these gives you like the most real feel of the road, and instead of that synthetic steering, and because that to me is so excitement is a big one. Feel of the road is another one, and the last one, technology.
Yeah, it's huge nowadays.
Because nowadays, this is 2020, basically. By the time this video comes out on YouTube, we all know this is going to be 2021. And the reality is, technology is a big part of these cars.
And Tesla's king with that. Like,
you can't
they
touch
are the
it.
standard.
You can't touch it. They own the standard. So we're not putting a Model 3 performance here, a Model 3, because we want to keep it separately. We're going to do something special with the Tesla after we're done with this review. And also, I want everybody to know that we got these cars from a rental app, a car rental app. And the reason why we did that is simple. We don't want to have our judgment impaired by our friend that loaned us the car or the company. Because let's face it, you got to be nicer to a car when a company's loaning you the car, right? You want to make sure that they're not going to be like mad at you afterwards, and then you're never going to be able to buy another car. And you don't want to become me, basically.
Exactly.
So that's why to me it was
bias,
none of that shit. That's why to me it was so important that we grabbed the cars from a third party. We're paying for them, which it's quite expensive now thinking about all the bullshit that But hey, we're all doing it for you guys because I do really feel like this is needed in the car world. No relationship attached to the car makers.
Yeah.
None of that. Just real, honest, pure truth, and nothing to gain here, right? Yeah, other than entertaining people.
Exactly, because you've seen, not to name names, but we've seen a lot of other, not necessarily YouTubers, but other media companies with cars having all these fake numbers with payment behind them that have been ousted lately.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Like, oh yeah, we're not even gonna throw dirt at anyone because we're happy people. But I think that's setting the stage right now, right? So let me ask you, Sergio, do you think that Supra is overrated and why?
Well, I never answered the question that you asked of which one I think is going to win.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah. See, this is why it's important that we have Sergio here. So which one do you think is going to win and why? Do you think your car is really going to win?
I do think overall. So the thing is, what I think, like I said with the Audi, it's great at everything. Like you're going to feel a lot of control because of the Quattro system, the cornering, kind of just your feel is going to be, the input's going to be great. It might not feel as connected to the road as the BMW per se, but the BMW is going to be a very rough ride. You know, like all the M cars are very
which
rough.
Might be an overkill for it, right? Because if you're buying a $50,000 car you're going to drive every single day that you want to enjoy both as a daily and also as an exciting car. If it's just an exciting car and not a daily, then that takes away from it. But I think, and let us be clear about this, we can make all these points and say like interior quality, this one and this one and this one, and whatever has the most points is probably going to win. But the reality is, at the end of the day, you got to walk away from it and say, this is the car I would take right now because of X, Y, and Z.
And I would say, for the Audi, for me, across all, like I said, it's just an overall great car. Yeah. Like you aren't going to miss anything.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to hit all the points. And for me, I do think...
Even sound. Excitement.
It does sound decent. And I love my car right now. I have an S4.
And a boat, and like you have so many vehicles. Sergio, he gets really, really well. Can I get paid what Sergio gets paid? That'd be amazing.
But put that aside, no, I think once you put away your bias, because you always joke around with me about Audi, and you always kind of throw crap at me about it. But I do think when you said
I do, but you know I like Audi too.
I know you
like
do,
I'm a
'cause you've
big
owned them, you
Volkswagen
love
fan,
them,
of course.
I think side by side compared to all these cars, for the money, it's going to do everything so great that you're going to love it and you're going to pick it as the best out of the bunch. I do believe so.
Okay, see, to me, I don't think my car's going to be the best.
Yeah.
I've driven a C43 before, the 4-door. I haven't driven the new coupe, which is the one that we have, and it was garbage. Like, it was just so boring and muted, but at the same time, I was comparing it to the bigger cars.
Yeah, exactly.
I was not going in the realm of, like, let's compare it to cars that are within its category, because that's just not me, to be honest with you. But now that we have this task at hand, I'm going to say I just don't see how that Mercedes is going to be more exciting than the Porsche.
It's only wait. The Porsche's a 4-cylinder as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's those.
It's
two
a
are
4-banger with 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
So it's the least the car with the least amount of horsepower.
Is the Porsche isn't?
The Porsche is
Oh,
300
yeah.
horsepower because it's got that tiny 4-cylinder engine turbo. Like,
It's a lot lighter. I will say,
but
the
it's a
Mercedes
lot
looks
lighter.
Great.
The Mercedes does
The
look
coupe
great.
form of the C-Class has always looked so good.
So let's go based on looks. Which
Yeah.
one is your favorite that you saw so far?
I'll say the Audi as well.
The Audi right now?
With the LED headlights just looks so good. I'm not just saying that because I love Audi, but like that car looks so sexy and
It
I don't
is.
know, it's a very masculine, cool
It
looking
is.
car.
It is. I'm going to tell you something that's going to shock you right now. I think that Supra might be the best looking car.
It does
of them
look
all.
good. I won't lie.
I went to sleep and I woke up this morning and I was like, I really have like a thing for it. I went outside and I looked at the cars while they were
Yeah.
standing there and I was like, this Supra is the best looking car. I love the design lines of the Porsche, but in a way it looks kind of like feminine,
Yeah.
right? It's a bit feminine right now, like that little car with a soft top and just looking from the outside, it
does.
doesn't have like that strong, like those strong lines. Now on the Supra, I hate the
ass
fake arrow.
looks so good. Yeah, the arrow's terrible.
I hate the fake vents that they put in the car. Like, why? I guess
just so
because
visible.
it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just looks so fake. So immediately it's like looking at a woman with like massive fake tits, and you're like, she's pretty, but do I want to play with those? Do I want to put some soap, lather them up with? Is that what I want to do in that car?
What I don't get is why car makers don't make it, even though it's not functional, at least don't make it a grill. So it doesn't look just like a piece of plastic thrown in there.
To me, it's weird that they're not making it functional. If you're
Yes.
making the holes
At least
already,
make it look decent.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'd love to find out from people what they think.
Yeah.
Why are car makers really skipping on like, yeah, we should have a vent here because, you know, the air would be trapped in here, but we're not going to put the vent. We're just...
And it kills aerodynamics. Like,
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And so to me, I think looks-wise, that car...
it does look great.
yeah, so I'd say looks. Sergio says the Audi, the S3, and I'd
S5.
say the Supra. I'm sorry, the S5, and I'd say the Supra. Sound-wise, which one do you think is going to sound the best? This is a really tough one.
I think the Porsche.
The Porsche,
I love the sound of Boxster engine. It's very poppy, very yeah.
and it still feels like a 911 in a way.
It still has a DNA. So I do like the sound of the, what's their name? The 817 or 718?
718.
718.
The 718.
Yeah,
Sergio,
yeah.
where are your notes?
You see, I didn't do all this. It's
Okay,
incredible.
so I'm gonna go too with the 718 simply
Yeah.
because of what you're saying. It sounds more raw and mechanical than any of the other cars, most likely. Right? I mean, I've driven a 718 before, I can tell you that, but I drove the S. So this is like the standard bottom of the line, bottom of the barrel. Like it's just,
Yeah.
and I'm still gonna go
The
with
S
the Porsche.
is like over 10 grand more expensive just for like 4-wheel drive and a little bit more power, which
and
is
do
crazy.
you really want 4-wheel drive? I
Not
mean,
a Porsche.
not at all. What about excitement? Which car do you think is gonna give you the most excitement?
I'd say the M2.
The M2?
You have 400 horsepower. You have the wheel-wheel drive.
That's what everyone keeps saying.
Like I was just on Instagram, and you know Obi from Iluso.
Yeah.
He posted a story of him literally just drifting around a corner and just
Oh,
throwing
yeah.
it around with
He's
the
got a
rain.
sick one. Yeah.
Like that's just fun. Like that.
Oh.
That's a cool aspect of a BMW with so much power to the back wheels.
Okay, so we're saying M2, and I think this is a tough one for me. The Mercedes is just going to get annihilated, first of all.
It
I
is.
think the Porsche is going to be the most exciting one.
Really? Okay.
Because it's a mid-engine car,
It
dude.
is. You have that
You're
feel.
going to go into the canyons, and he's going to drive amazingly, and then you're going to drive it on the regular road, and he's going to drive like a daily.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 718. And obviously, at the end of the show, once we're done filming everything, we're going to come back and look at these and say, was that really what
Yeah.
you were thinking? Because that's why this show is called On Paper. This is a preliminary show to what it's about to go down.
Yeah.
So, okay, feel on the road. Who do you think, what car maker at the level that we're touching right now is going to give you the best feel on the road?
I hate to say it, but I still think it's going to be the BMW.
The BMW.
Yeah, just in the exact and just in like the.
I haven't touched that car,
sense,
just so you know. So I don't know.
I know. I'd love to say the Audi, but I know the Audi is more of a how I like to drive, a more comfortable ride. But if you want road feel, feedback, all that kind of stuff, I do think the M2 is going to give that to you. That of the Porsche, but I'd say the M2 is my.
I'm going to go with the Porsche simply because they do everything at amazing levels in and out. So I'm going to go with the 718 100%. What about cabin space? Or should we not touch cabin space because but haven't we seen the cars? Didn't we move them a little bit?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like we already are influenced, but we haven't really driven them. Yeah. So I guess let's go with cabin space.
I'm saying the S5.
The S5.
Just being in there, it felt massive.
Big. It's fucking
like
huge.
You just feel like you're in a massive car, very comfortable, very spacious. Like the Supra was tiny. At least from just being in there for a minute. Yeah. I didn't fit in those seats. Like I was smushed. I'm a big guy, but I felt like I was getting just like pancaked.
No. I also got in the Supra, and I gotta say that felt really, really tight. Yeah. And not tight in a nice way.
No.
Like why is there no more space in that car? Like what's going on over here? Like for real.
Yeah.
So
did you get in the Audi?
No, I haven't gotten in the Audi.
Because it is very spacious, and you have a massive trunk.
The cabin space, I'm going to give it to my Mercedes, to the C43. Because they're huge cars. The C-Class is a big car, just like your Audi. Yeah. I just haven't been in both of them, so I don't know which one's going to win for real.
So we'll get back to that.
I'm going to go with the C43. What about the interior quality? That's a tough one.
I know what you're going to say. I feel like you're going to say Mercedes. But for me, I do love the Audi. I love on the S models, just the Alcantara seats, the carbon fiber. Like, it's an R8 on the inside. Like, and you have just.
So I haven't been inside of that car. So
for me, it's the S5 for sure.
I would say I'm going to say the interior quality of the Mercedes is going to be the best because they do spend the most money in the inside, and it's probably going to take away from the joy of driving that car. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So, interior quality, Sergio saying the S5. I'm saying the C43 AMG. I think I'm going to be so wrong in most of these. Until you get to drive the cars, and this is why it's so important to us what we're doing right now. Until you get to drive them.
Yeah. But it's good that we're going through this just to begin with. So we have that in mind of what we're looking out for.
Yeah, and especially because we've seen the videos of all the cars, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one thing that doesn't translate from a video, how nice an interior can feel and really make you feel while you're there. Sound system. This is just a shot in the dark.
So I'll just say from my experience, like I have my S4, and I love the sound system. Because I have that in a 4Runner, and I will literally not drive the 4Runner on long drives because of the sound system in the S4.
It's like, so good.
It just sounds so good. It just, for me, just from experience, I'm going to say the S5. I believe it's Harman Kardon, which is great, but I know Mercedes also has a good system. But for me, S5.
I'm going to go with Mercedes on this one because I do think Mercedes is going to clean everyone right here on the sound system. And you better not disappoint me, Mercedes. I've been praising the shit out of you. Storage space.
S5. That car was massive. In the trunk, you could fit 5 bodies in the back of it.
S5. I do think the C43 is going to do it.
Really?
Dude, it's got a big trunk too. It's got rear seats too. Yeah. It's the same thing that you're looking at, but I think Mercedes just distributes their cars better. I don't want to look back at this clip and be wrong, Sergio. We're going to have to re-edit it. And then last but not least, technology. And we're talking about the technology from getting into the car with the key, whatever's available on your key, to the infotainment system. Do you agree that that should be taken into consideration? What do you think technology?
Honestly, and I think this is gonna be an easy win for the Audi. You have the whole cockpit, full digital display. Like you have Audi, like is the pioneer of all this tech for VW Group. Like they do it the best within everybody. They've always been known for their tech.
They are, but the Porsches are pretty sick and slick right now.
Yeah, but like the touchscreen isn't anything great. The speedometer isn't anything great. Yeah.
Are you sure? Yeah. I'm going to go with the 718.
Really? For
technology? Because look, the C43 does not have like the double cool screen and all.
It doesn't?
I don't think so.
I think it does.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It does. It has the same thing as your wagon.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, then I'm going to
It's the
go.
newest- it's the
Then
newest
I'm
year.
sorry, fellas. I'm going to correct myself based on the new information that Sergio was just given.
I'm
Giving me.
95% sure.
Okay. Okay. So now can we go into, do you think the Supra is overrated? I mean, we've seen a ton of YouTubers buy a Supra. And here's what bothers me as a car fan and as someone who really enjoys watching videos of cars. I just don't think it's fair because it's a cheap buy with a big name that people are just buying it for views, misleading people that can buy, that actually are putting their hopes and dreams into like, I want to own this car, because a lot of people follow these kids and they're like, dude, I want to have what he's got. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's an aspirational thing.
And I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
That car is going to be what everyone's hyping it up to be. I think it's just a view monster. And people are just buying it because, come on, half of these people can buy a Lamborghini, can buy a McLaren, can buy a big Mercedes.
Yeah, whatever they want.
Why would you buy a fucking Supra unless it was gifted to you? And if it was gifted to you, I feel like there should be a responsibility of like, I got this car for free.
Yeah. No,
Right? When you're talking about the car, so that we don't fall for those like old tricks from like the magazines that got paid for car of the year.
Exactly. No, I do believe that it's very overrated. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great car. What it's meant to do. I just don't think it's worth all the hype for like, mostly because like, let's say if Fast and Furious wasn't a movie, that car wouldn't even be around right now.
No.
They wouldn't have made this generation.
No, you gotta commend Toyota for taking advantage of that.
Exactly. It's
Because they were brilliant by making that move. Whereas Volkswagen, and honestly, I've been trying to work with Volkswagen behind the scenes and trying to tell them like, dude, let's make a sick ass Jetta.
Yeah.
Like for real, let's make a sick ass Jetta, twin turbo the crap out of it, like put some badass wheels, maybe a body kit, something, and bring back the Fast and the Furious legendary Jetta. Because how come of all the cars that were in that movie, the only one that didn't make a strong comeback was the Jetta?
Yeah.
Why?
No, there's no reason why they couldn't be that. And also, I just feel like also with the Supra, everything that people loved about the original Supra isn't there except for the styling.
Yeah.
The
Other
engine
than
and
that,
everything else is BMW. And you just don't have a reliable car. Like you're buying a Toyota because you can just throw whatever you want at it and it'll still keep on running.
but not a BMW.
BMW, exactly. So it looks great, like you're saying, but outside of that, I don't think it has anything else positively towards it versus any of these other cars.
Okay.
At this price range.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because why not spend a little bit more money? I mean, the Supra starts at $50,000.
Yeah.
The S5 starts at $52,000. $2,000 if you're leasing a car, come on, you're looking at a $20, not even difference a month in payment. So the C43 is $55,000. The M2 gets a little bit pricier, but you do get a lot more. It's 405 horsepower at $58,000.
Yeah.
And the 718 is $59,000. But then you have a Porsche.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a little dick player and you're buying a 718, you're gonna feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? So,
what do you think though? Do you think it's overrated as well?
I think it's so overrated.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be talking about this car the way we're talking about it right now. I think, and just looking at the car again, that would have been a great car with a different name that they just came out with, and then you don't put any pressure on the car. To me, the reason why the NSX was a huge failure was because they put the name NSX on it. If they would have made that a standalone car, like, look at the new car that we have that it's sick. Yeah. Then it wouldn't have to live off the shadow of the other car, and then no expectations would be there. Yeah. And people would be like, damn, this is a fucking Acura that it goes this fast, that has this technology? Are you kidding me? And instead, they wasted all because they wanted to name that car. Again, the brilliant thing is, while Acura went for the $200,000 car, which ended up being $130,000 or whatever, because they got so much money off the cars now because they get
like $100 off from the dealership. It's
they
crazy.
they moved the price to such a low price because they only moved like 100 and something cars worldwide last year.
Yeah, it was nuts.
100 cars. How can you be such a massive company and only sell 100 of your product when you have so many retail points? That speaks fucking volumes of what's wrong with that. And I think the Supra would have had a better shot at being called something completely different too, instead of us having to be like, this is a Supra, because it's not. It's got nothing in common with the old one.
No, exactly. And you're getting just a Z4. you know, and
you're buying a cheap Z4.
so you're gonna have this car break down in 4 years.
So
the value being destroyed.
Oh, man, I want people to really think about this. Just look at the old Z4s and the person driving it. You're that guy now if you bought a Supra. At least that's what I think you're going to be.
Picture a Supra, a second market Supra owner, what they're going to be like.
Oh, my God. Like, you're going to be that guy, the weird guy.
They'll be cheap. They'll be 20 grand. But
I don't know. Okay.
I think it's very overrated, and it's good for the people that have had their Supras blow up because of the hype behind it. But you are just like falsely advertising the car.
That's what I think too. That's what I think too. There's no way that's a joy to drive. There's no way that car's going to be the best one at anything here. I mean, it's still a BMW held back by the Toyota brand.
I'm excited to experience more driving because I drove it for 10 seconds and that steering felt so awful. It felt so fake.
I was moving it too at the same time. That's why even like first impressions, I was like, oh, I haven't driven the car like much, but oh, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to live up to the expectations. I think it's super overrated. So all in, after we talked about all of this, you really think the S5 is going to win?
Yes, sir. Hands down.
It's the most complete car according to you?
Yep, I think it's the most complete car, and for the money, the best bang you can get.
I think so too.
You think so too? I don't think I've ever. I never thought I'd hear that in my life. Mr. Mercedes fanboy.
It's just the BMW, so atrocious interior.
It is, yeah.
And it better be. But you know what? Tomorrow. If it's really good, I'm gonna lose my shit about like, wow, this car for this amount of money is really good.
Yeah.
But I do think at the same time, just like you, that S5 is gonna win.
My man.
I feel really weird about this.
We'll see.
I guess we'll see. There's nothing. I think there's nothing left to say. Is there anything else that you think we're missing out?
No, I think we hit all the points. I'm excited to just be able to experience the cars and really see what's the best bang on the buck. Cause
that's the important thing. Is there any good comments in there that we can answer real quick or not really?
Let me see. Let me refresh.
Let's give it a shot. Give it a shot. Let's see if anyone's asking any interesting questions.
I'm just saying hi. Like, good to see you.
All right. Well, good to see you all. I missed you guys. We're going to be back. There's going to be a lot of content coming out now because we finally have a brain and we decided to plan content ahead so that we can actually do this while I have to work. I did. It's my bad. All right. Thank you, Sergio, so much for your input. Tomorrow, we're going to have Mike Tornabene be our guy for the video in English so that him and I can go back and forth. You and I are going to go back and forth in Spanish so we can go back, look at this after we drove all of the cars and have this conversation and really see how right or wrong we were. I wrote down all of my notes. I feel like an adult.
Look at you.
So this was on paper. Episode 1.
There we go.
Thank you, Sergio.
Boom.
Let's get it.
And
Let's get it. Please write down. Hey, write down in the.
What do you guys think?
What do you guys think? Which car is going to win? And if you catched all the categories that we're going to be qualifying into, qualifying the cars with, please write them down. Let us know which one you think is going to excel at what category. Again, interior quality, sound system, cabin space, storage space, looks, sound, excitement, feel of the road, and technology.
You just described an Audi right there.
With that said, I'm going to leave. I'm Alejandro. This is Sergio. Thank you very much for watching, guys.